What is good, everyone? Welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. This is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. As you can see, this is episode 220. Vince McMahon returns. So for the first time in a long time, I am live not only on YouTube, over at youtube.com/wrestling with fans, but also on the Wrestling with Fans Facebook page. So if you haven't liked us on Facebook, make sure you check it out, facebook.com/wrestling with fans. We'll run down the full list of social media stuff and all that good stuff here in just a moment. So basically what we're going to talk about today, what we are talking about today is the massive news that kind of literally within 24 hours, it just kind of blew up. There was a report from the Wall Street Journal, who has been very pivotal in breaking a lot of the WWE's insider behind the scenes office goings on in the last year. They are the first ones to break the story about the hush money payments from Vince and all that fun stuff. And they're now, they did release another report, not long ago, that Vince had planned to return to WWE. And then a couple of days later, it was another report coming out saying it was much more serious. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, Vince is back. I believe he owns 28 or 29% of the stock. But also, due to his voting power, holds 80% voting power. So what Vince McMahon did is he voted himself and former co-presidents George Wilson, Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, who he fired back in 2020. He released both of them, and that's when Nick Khan came on board to the company. But Vince brought himself and Michelle and George back onto the board of directors. 3 members of the board were removed, and then 2 additional ones also resigned of their own fruition, which is another interesting point. Makes you kind of wonder. Now, man, so much to this, and a lot of people have talked about it a lot. A lot of people have already released videos and things on it. I'm glad I waited a few days before actually releasing anything on it, because I wanted to see how it kind of played out. I really wanted to see how things played out. And the stock is up, which is surprising to me. But, Vince McMahon is back within WWE. Now, there's a lot of people that are in full-blown panic mode about Vince returning, think, he's going to take control again, things like that. Have no fear, I've got more on that. But first, let's take a quick pause for the calls and check out our social medias, and make sure, if you haven't done so already, like us, follow us on all these fun social medias. Be back in just a moment. Myself here for a quick moment. First off, thank you for checking out Wrestling with Fans here on YouTube. If you're enjoying what you see, make sure leave a big old thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below. The other ways you can help support the show is to follow us across all of our other social medias. Check us out, facebook.com/wrestling with fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here with Wrestling with Fans. Or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at wrestlingwithfans.com. New audio shows go up every single Sunday at midnight. Or you can take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast, the listening device. You can get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We are on all the major platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. Last but certainly not least, comments, questions, feedback, topics you want covered on the show, shoot me an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com. Links to everything are down in the video description and down below, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, back to the show. And coming back in here, one quick news thing I want to point out before we get into the whole Vince thing. If you weren't aware, actually there's 2. Let's start off with this little one here. maybe not too little, but Biff Busick tweeted on New Year's Eve that he will now be working full-time as the co-head trainer for NXT. Biff Busick, for those who aren't aware, is the former NXT Tag Team Champion Oney Lorcan. He said that he wasn't sure if he's had his last match, but he had a blast. It was time to move on to the next chapter of his career. So congratulations to Biff Busick, the former Oney Lorcan, for getting picked up over at NXT as a trainer. And also, for those who may have missed it or may not follow New Japan Pro Wrestling or any ventures outside of WWE, the former Sasha Banks, Mercedes Varnado, is now officially in New Japan Pro Wrestling. She showed up at the end of the women's title match between Kairi Sane, and I can't remember her opponent, so I apologize. So she is now in New Japan. Her first match is set for their February show in, I believe, San Jose, somewhere in California. But her first match for the promotion will be in February. There's a lot of rumors that she will be the mystery partner on AEW Dynamite with, again, I now just drew a blank because I should have wrote my notes down, but I didn't. But she's supposed to be the mystery partner. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, Mercedes Varnado, who now goes by the name Mercedes Moné. So she went from the boss, Sasha Banks, to the CEO, Mercedes Moné. You can bank on Moné, I think is what she was saying into the camera. So congrats to Sasha. So much for, Triple H took over and Sasha will be back. Because that obviously did not happen. She is now part of New Japan. The rumors of her signing with AEW are also out there. So congrats for moving on to the next portion of your career. And in a fun little thing, not only was Naomi, the former Naomi, I guess still, in New Japan to support, but also Bayley was there as well. There's a nice picture. I'll put it up here on the camera for you to see with FTR. The top picture was back from their WWE days. The bottom picture is one that was taken over in Japan during Wrestle Kingdom 17 back on January 14th. There's a good look. You can see that there. So awesome to see that back together. So yeah. You might heard any crazy news stories about Vince McMahon? Maybe. So again, Vince is now back on the WWE Board of Directors. He will not be resuming any role as chairman of the board or as president or head of creative. WWE did a Zoom call. This is picking up this info from Pro Wrestling Network over on Facebook. The WWE Zoom meeting has concluded, long story short, quote unquote, business as usual. Talent was informed that Vince McMahon is back with WWE. However, Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are still co-CEOs. Triple H is still head of creative. In fact, it was stressed that the day-to-day will have zero change, quote, at this time, unquote. They did a meeting with all of their talent as well. And then they did one for investors. But the way it's being described, from what I'm getting, the way it's being described is that apparently there's a potential of a sale. There is the TV rights deals are going to be coming up within the next year. So Vince basically forced the board's hand, got himself back involved, basically held his own company hostage by saying, if I am not involved in the negotiations for the TV rights, if I am not involved with negotiations of a potential sale of the company, I'm going to use my 80% voting power to veto anything and everything unless I am back on the board of directors. Now, the board also sent a letter to Vince McMahon earlier this week, basically telling him flat out, we think it is bad for business to have you back in the fold, to have you back on the board of directors. We don't think this is a good move for all of the investors. And Vince pretty much just said, yeah, I don't care. He even changed the bylaws of the company, stating that he has the veto power on all decisions. Basically, he pulled a coup in his own company. Now, will this have any effect on anything that we see on television? As of now, no, it does not seem to be the case that Vince will have any say, any input, or anything to do with on-screen product. This is simply a back-end business business arrangement. He is on the board. Again, George Barrios and Michelle Wilson are also back on the board. 3 members were removed, 2 others resigned. And this is mainly just to transition the company for the new TV rights. Again, the TV rights come up in 2024, so about a year from now. They're going to be negotiating again with probably USA Network, NBC Universal, and also Fox for Raw and SmackDown and NXT, respectively. And Vince wants to be a part of it. He wants to say in what his company does. So I know there's been a lot of talk on the internet, and who knows, by the time this actually comes out, it may change again. But as it seems, for the moment, Vince is only on the back end for the business portion of the company. But also in an interesting twist, because it got even crazier. And we thought 2022 was a crazy year in wrestling with the whole Vince resigning and all that stuff. And now we start off 2023. And within the first week of 2023, it's just getting even crazier. Like, there's no... every year you're like, oh, there's no way next year's going to be any crazier. No way next year's going to be any crazier. Well, this year has already started off pretty crazy because WWE has apparently retained J.P. Morgan, the giant business banking conglomerate, to help with any potential sales of WWE. Which now has led all the speculation. Will WWE go up for sale? Will WWE go up for sale? Well, there's a lot of rumor and innuendo out there. I've seen so many lists of potential buyers. Oh, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that. I don't know. Will WWE go up for sale? We may find out. But here's some of the more notable, potential suitors, and I use air quotes for those listening to the audio version of this show. Comcast, aka NBC Universal, Fox, Disney, Paramount Plus, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Netflix, Amazon, Binge, don't know who that is, Endeavor Group Holdings, Liberty Media, the Saudi Arabian government is also rumored to be interested, and also, last but certainly not least, $7 Productions. And for those who aren't aware, $7 Production is the production company headed by none other than The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So there's speculation that even The Rock could be involved in a potential sale. Now, there's no concrete word on whether the company is going to be sold. There's nothing out there on, anything other than the fact that Vince is on the board, and it's mainly a back-end business position. He holds 80% of voting power. So, again, he wants to make sure that he is involved when the TV rates come up in the next year and any potential sales of the company. Now, I can't imagine... Well, then again, I said this last year. I couldn't imagine a world with Vince McMahon not in charge of WWE. Now there's a potential that we could live in a world where Vince McMahon does not even own the WWE. And, of course, there's a lot of memes and things out there talking about the potential, Tony Khan pulling a Vince McMahon and buying his competition. Now, while Tony Khan does have the money for that, there's no way, there's no chance in hell, to quote Vince McMahon, that he would ever sell to Tony Khan in AEW. But get out your fantasy booking tinfoil hats and have some fun with that in the comments. Let me know what you think. So for those again watching, we are live on YouTube. live on the Wrestling with Fans Facebook page. If you're watching live, let me know in the comments wherever you're watching. I would love to know what your thoughts are. Easy for me to say, on Vince making his return to the company. Now, a couple things for those here on the YouTube side of things. Got a couple new videos up on the channel already. Filmed a couple more over this weekend, and I'm excited to get them up every Friday on the channel. For those who didn't listen to last week's or any of the new videos, is Fig Friday. So every Friday here on Wrestling with Fans on the YouTube, there's going to be some wrestling figure related video. Now, whether that could be maybe a toy hunt, maybe a figure unboxing, a My Hauls video, or talking about news, or maybe just looking back at some old figures that I have in the collection. Every Friday is Fig Friday here on YouTube. And just as a little teaser for those that are watching, one of the videos that I'm working on the editing, will be coming down the pipeline very soon, is about these guys here. These are the last 2 years top picks John Cena Elites. They're now in the collection. I've needed some John Cenas. I have one, an older one. It came with no accessories. It's just basically a placeholder. But we do have a Doctor of Thugonomics style John Cena and the Hustle, Loyalty, Respect John Cena. And then another video that's about to drop here, I think in the next week, will be the large ringside collectibles order that I picked up. And one of the things, and you'll get to see all that cool stuff when that video drops later this week, did take advantage on their, Cyber Monday holiday sales. Picked up a lot of cool things, accessories, and figures. But the first figure I unboxed, which is going to come up on the channel here in the near future, is none other than Elite 85 Karrion Kross, as you can see him there. Really cool figure, and I talked about in the video that maybe I can figure out a way to do some Mod Podge or something on his head to give him a more current look where he has his hair. But both Cena's, excuse me, and the Karrion Kross coming to the channel here in the very near future. Also, fun little thing that I picked up. Nothing of this one on the channel, but a Jose Canseco bat. Tell me you didn't pay money for this. I did pick up the Raphael and Casey Jones 2-pack, the NECA 2-pack. So I'm very excited to have those in the wrestling figure collection, or the figure collection, I should say, not wrestling figure collection. But, sorry, just going through a couple notes here that I have. Digital note. I like digital notes on the phone. And again, if you're watching the video on Facebook, give me a thumbs up. If you're watching the video on YouTube, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Like the Facebook page if you haven't done so already. All right, let's see. Where else do we want to go from here? Royal Rumble news. So we'll come back to more Vince stuff later in the program. But the Royal Rumble, we have some stuff for the Royal Rumble. If you watch Friday Night SmackDown, we now have a match scheduled. Roman Reigns will defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Kevin Owens. That match was made during the opening segment of the program. Also, we have some new, as of this week, qualifiers for the men's and women's Royal Rumble. I don't understand how some people are just getting, okay, you can just announce for the Rumble, but other people have to qualify. For example, we talked last week, Kofi Kingston was announced on the December 2nd edition of SmackDown. And then Santos Escobar was announced on this past Friday, January 6th episode of SmackDown. However, Ricochet had to defeat Top Dollar to qualify on that same January 6th episode. And then over on the women's side, the only name we have currently for the Women's Royal Rumble is Liv Morgan. That was announced this past Friday, January the 6th. Now, what else we got coming up? For those, let's see here. Let me pull this up. I want to make sure I get this exact thing here. I want to make sure I got. Here we go. So we are coming up 3 days from now. So as you're listening to this or watching this in the future, January the 11th marks 30 years. 30 years for Monday Night Raw. And to kind of commemorate the 30 years of Monday Night Raw, there is the Raw Triple X, which when trying to Google to find out when the date was and the information, do not type in WWE Raw Triple X, because you're gonna find some interesting results from the Google search. So make sure you just type in Raw 30, Raw 30th anniversary. It's gonna take place from Philadelphia on January the 23rd. So not this coming Monday the 9th or the 16th. 2 weeks from now, January 23rd, will be the official celebration for Raw 30. Again, just do yourselves a favor. Do not put in, because they're promoting it Raw XXX. Of course, XXX is Roman numerals for 30. But do not Google search WWE Raw XXX. I found that at the hard way earlier today. So, yeah, you're welcome for that. Just go ahead and just avoid doing anything like that here in the near future. Let's take a quick pause for some social media commercials, and then we'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more Vince McMahon stuff. Again, if you are watching on YouTube or watching on Facebook, make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and let me know what you think of the news about Vince McMahon returning to WWE. We'll read out some comments if we get any here live on the air. But until then, let's take a quick pause for the calls, and we will be right back. For a quick moment, first off, thank you for checking out Wrestling with Fans here on YouTube. If you're enjoying what you see, make sure to leave a big old thumbs up and click that subscribe button down below. The other ways you can help support the show is to follow us across all of our other social medias. Check us out, facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans. Hulk smash that like button to keep up to date with everything going on here with Wrestling with Fans. Or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wrestling with Fans. Check us out on the web at WrestlingWithFans.com. New audio shows go up every single Sunday at midnight. Or you can take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast, the listening device. You can get us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We are on all the major platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. Last but certainly not least, comments, questions, feedback, topics you want covered on the show, shoot me an email, wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, that's wwfshow@gmail.com. Links to everything are down in the video description and down below, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, back to the show. Coming back in here one more time here for the last few minutes of the podcast. Again, for those joining late, for those watching live on YouTube or live on Facebook, because we're live on both right now. So good to be live, back being live again. Vincent Kennedy McMahon is back on WWE's Board of Directors. He used his voting power, controlling 80% of votes for WWE, to vote himself, George Barrios, and Michelle Wilson back into the Board of Directors. 3 members were removed, and 2 additional ones also put in their resignation at the same time. Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are still co-CEOs. Stephanie is still chairwoman of the board. Triple H is still head of WWE Creative. There's been a lot of panic about whether or not Vince is coming back in to take charge again. But to quell all of those rumors, no. As of this time, it is just solely on the business end. WWE's TV rights deals are up in the next year, and he wants to make sure he is a part of any negotiations for TV rights or anything like that. So there's nothing over on the creative side, nothing, over on any other side other than the back end on the business for these TV rights deals. So everybody can just calm down for now, and if anything changes, we'll make sure we touch on it here on the program. Now, I realized here at the end of the show, last week in the first show of 2023, I said that I only wanted to concentrate on screen stuff, talking about storylines. I didn't really want to get into the meat and potatoes of, behind the scenes stuff, dirt sheet stuff, or anything like that. But as it turns out, those dirty, dirty sheets
Dirty sheets. Ooh.
had other plans for me. Even though this didn't really come from the dirt sheets, this came directly from the Wall Street Journal. But let's take a quick look here at something. Now, I had talked about this earlier. The stock on WWE went up. So what we are going to do, let's take a look here what they have done. So in the last, let's see. So, wow. In the past week, so actually let's look at this. In the last day, they are up $12.14, which is 16.84%. 1% of that coming after hours. In the last week, WWE stock is up over $16 or 24%. The stock now sits at $85, whereas January 5th around 3 o'clock, it's set at $71.83. It went up, spiked up to $88.11, and has since come down to $85. But it's still up. Pretty big spike just around the time that the Wall Street Journal report broke, and that it was announced that Vince was making his actual return to the company and was back on WWE's board of directors. So the business side is good. The fan backlash, though, of course, is still, oh no, oh no, oh no. But again, just to put everyone at ease, for what we know now, a couple of days after this news is broke, this is simply he's a member of the board of directors and used his, voting power to get himself back on so he can have some control over any TV race deals or any potential sales of the company. Now, the one final question I'll leave everyone with here on the program is, if WWE sells, if they were to sell the company, if Vince and company were to just cut ties and sail off into the sunset, who would you like to see purchase WWE? Let me know down in the comments below. I've seen a lot of people look towards like an Amazon or a Disney. If that's the case, then, Stephanie would become a Disney princess. Rhea Ripley would be a Disney princess. Bianca Belair would be a Disney princess. So all the memes and all the fun stuff. Santina Marella would be a Disney princess. Just think about that for a minute. People have also said things like Amazon would be interesting. The Saudi government is the one that worries me the most if they were to put in a bid. Now, again, Vince has the last say. He controls 80% of the voting power. So if anything that happens with WWE still has to go through Vince. So unless they make him some ridiculous offer, make him an offer he can't refuse, then, Vince can stay on. I mean, there's not even a guarantee that the company will sell. But with WWE retaining JP Morgan to help with any potential sales of the company, that has really started the speculation flying as to whether or not Vince is going to go ahead and cut ties with his baby, the multi-million-dollar, the billion-dollar company that he helped, that he did create. Be interesting. The next couple months should be quite interesting indeed. And there I go, again, wanting to cover only the on-TV product, but it seems that there's going to be much more to chat about here on the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Guys, again, thank you all so much for being a part. I've seen several people hop in and out watching live. And if you are watching live on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button. Would love to have you on there. My goal for the year is to get up to 1,000 subscribers. That is my ultimate goal with the channel. I appreciate whoever's been watching over on the Facebook. Really, really appreciate that. Again, the social medias and all that good stuff, links are down in the video description down below. They will also be in the audio description down below as well. If you want to hear the audio version of this, if you missed the video version, you want to check the audio version, that is going to drop over at wrestlingwithfans.com tonight at midnight. Tonight at midnight, the audio version will drop, and then the video version of this, the replay of this, will be back up on the channel on Tuesday. Again, Fig Friday. Got some John Cena's coming to the channel. Got Karrion Kross coming to the channel. I got a huge accessory bundle from Ringside Collectibles coming to the channel. Last but certainly not least, oh, hang on. For those that didn't see that video, we'll do it live. What up, Dale? We got a couple Undertakers that are getting ready to get unboxed right now as soon as I'm done with this. So, yeah, make sure you stay tuned to the channel, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like us over on Facebook. All the socials down in the audio description, video description down below. I'm getting so confused. This is my first time being live again in a long time. So thanks everyone for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle. We'll see you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.